Good evening. Welcome to the City of West Miami. Today is our regular commission meeting of Wednesday, August 16, 2017 at 7:30. For the invocation, Ms. Aguilar.
Thank you. Please rise. Let's bow our head this evening and thank the Lord for our countless blessings. Tonight we pray for the victims and the family of the Charlottesville, Virginia tragedy last week as they seek to heal emotionally from senseless violence that has rocked that community. We pray for wisdom, respect, and peace to prevail at a time where turmoil is knocking on our door. We pray for all the children who are returning or have returned to the 2017-2018 school year and for all those teachers who touch the lives of our youngsters in class every day in a very special and meaningful way. We pray for our military personnel at a time where we are struggling to find world peace at home and abroad. God, we ask you to watch over our elected officials so that they can continue to serve and govern in our fine community. We pray for our law enforcement officers and firefighters, and again, we ask you to continue showering the city of West Miami with your grace and your blessings. And we ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Chief, for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Roll call.
Roll call. Mayor Eduardo Mujina,
Present.
Vice Mayor Candida Blanca, Commissioner Juan Blanes,
Present.
Commissioner Rhonda Rodriguez,
Present.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 4.
Item 4, presentation of minutes for approval for July 19th, 2017 special city commission meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Presentation of minutes for approval for July 19th, 2017 regular city commission meeting.
Motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. At this time, I would like to take a point of privilege, and I want to welcome to our city Juan Rubi from the Chamber of Commerce of the City of Medley. I also want to welcome Ivan Pacheco, the Vice Mayor of the City of Medley. And of course, we want to welcome the Mayor of the city, Mr. Martel.
Good evening, Mayor.
And with that, Madam Clerk, I would like to take an item out of order, which is, I believe, can you help me with that item, please? Item C.
Sí, Mayor.
Yes, item 11C. This is the exchange of city keys between the city of West Miami and the town of Medley by mayor and city commission.
Thank you. Before the mayor start, I want to call to your attention, a cup that you have in front of you. It is a gift from the city of Medley. And I think after this meeting, we're really going to strengthen our friendship and the future. With that, Mayor, thank you for coming to the city.
I want to thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for having me here today, and to have the honor to give you our city, the town of Medley City, showing an emblem that we have a joint venture between me and you, our towns, to work together. To whatever you need, we're going to work as a team to get things done and accomplished to help all the surrounding communities. And that's the goal, and that's what I've been trying to do with all different cities. We're collecting keys from all South Florida. And thank you, and this is an exchange between me and the Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's come forward, please.
Thank you for the smart pen, see? See, this is used for the telephone, the computer. He needs it one and only.
We'll get it.
He's the president of the Chamber of Commerce, also he's a singer. He's a singer. He's an actor. What's on the file?
By the way, this is the wife of Vice Mayor, which I spoke to her, but she didn't want it to. She didn't want to be here, but now she is. ¿Que saca qué? Ah, no, es lo último que me acabo de...
Thank you very much. I recommend all of you check the birthday Facebook.
I don't know. Yo tampoco.
Chamber of Commerce
Mira, mira,
website.
I can buy. That is nice. That is nice, yes. Sí, nosotros preparamos cuando no sabíamos que esto iba a venir así.
So if you want to go on September 5th, we're also doing in our center, we're getting parking flags from all the structures. And that's actually to bring more business from outside, and we're going to take them. And we already have 10 flags from other countries, and now on September 5th, we're bringing more flags from other countries. To come in and do participate. And then that's to bring business between outside the United States and the United States. So more people are and then I don't wanna take this around, it's I rather have, that's where you
Okay.
Señores, good evening, good evening.
I will give it to our city clerk. Oh, okay.
Perfect. Perfect, thank you.
Tú te ríes, no te ríes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Coño, macho, aquí.
¿Ha perdido?
Bye, gracias, thank you.
Siempre estoy en reuniones para arriba y mañana estoy de cocinero.
Ah, pero eso me gusta.
Mañana estoy cocinándole a los niños.
¿A qué hora es la comida es?
Después
Oh,
mañana a las
thank
10
you for
empiezo a
being here,
cocinar.
yes,
¿A qué hora es la comida?
yes,
Nada más que tú
Please.
llegues yo te la doy. Yo,
yes, okay.
gracias a ustedes. Así están.
Oye, macho, cuídate.
Madam Clerk, can you guide me on the order of the agenda? Any other item that we should take out of order, please?
Mr. Mayor, at this time, we recommend if item 10B can be heard. This is the presentation of certificate of recognition to the sponsor of the 4th of July event, and we have publics here present.
Okay. All right. Anything else you need to read into the record?
And also, Mayor, we would like to recommend to hear item 11D, which is a request for a mitigation on a case for the property 6180 16th Street. The attorney representing the property owners here too.
Okay, we'll do that with that one next. All right, so let's do the recognition.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Um,
Item 10B. It's a presentation of certificate of recognition to the sponsor of the 4th of July event, and in this case, it's Public Supermarket.
Thank you. Commissioner Rodriguez, would you like to take the lead on this one?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have Marty Vaquero, she is the customer service, Director of Customer Service, right? I forget the exact, Assistant Customer Service. And Marty's the one we reach out to each and every time we need something for our events, and she's always been there for us, so it is with pleasure that I would like to recognize Publix and have Marty come forward for the recognition.
Okay, let's come forward,
And
please.
she has a great time when she comes. Her and her staff love coming to the events.
Okay. Clara, no,
Sí,
no,
en el email.
Acuérdate que el problema es
Come on, let's move to the next item. Madam Clerk, can you read it into the record, please?
Yes, this is item 11D. This is a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a mitigation offer in the amount of blank from City Mortgage, Inc. on code enforcement liens for code violations at the property located at 6180 Southwest 16th Street, West Miami, Florida, providing that if payment in full is not paid by blank, then the amount owed shall revert to the original amount, providing for effective date, mayor and city commission.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this is a property that's been empty for quite some time, probably over 4 years now. At one point, we cited it because the property was overgrown, and that's what one of the liens about, and the other one is because the utility easement was overgrown. As I said, it's remained vacant for a long time. At times, we've had squatters living in it, and just putting a hindrance on the neighborhood. There's an attorney here for City Corp, which I believe is the owner of the property at this time, and they are here, City Mortgage, and they are here to mitigate the pending fines that are accumulated on the property.
Okay?
Mr. Mayor, if I may add
Yes.
to what Mr. Penna has reported regarding the file, as he reported, what we try to do with these cases as they come up to you is evaluate the time and assess the time that the city has basically put in terms of work and how the property has taxed our different resources. Obviously, we know now that we had to call the police department on several locations. We have had the issue of the squatters. We've had issues with utilities. As a matter of fact, with people moving in there, bringing fake leases. I mean, we've had a lot of time on the file. Notwithstanding that the violations are the general upkeep of the property and not structural in nature, although we have not entered the property, but it doesn't appear that they have built anything without a permit or done any type of construction. So we are recommending, and Mr. Penna and I have had this conversation, we are recommending that the fine be $5,000 so that the city can recoup the time spent on the file by code enforcement, the administrative staff, the police department, and obviously that the property, that the condition of the property that has had a deteriorating effect on the surrounding areas. So that would be our recommendation.
Okay?
Mr. Penna, what's the status of the house now? Is it under control? Is it being kept up?
Yes, they still have it closed off, but it's being maintained regularly.
Okay.
Okay?
How long did the bank own the property?
How about if we hear from council?
We cited in 2012, and they owned it at that time, so that'd
So-
be 5 years.
So they have not taken care of the property
Uh,
at all?
It took,
Can we hear from council before
Oh,
we?
okay.
it took about, till 2 years ago to really get somebody focused on maintenance of the property.
Okay.
This is the
southeast corner.
southeast corner of 16th and 62nd.
Correct.
Good evening. My name is Giselle Hernandez. I'm here for City Mortgage. I had the pleasure of speaking to Ms. Aguilar regarding this matter. We are seeking for a reduction. We are in complete agreement that the expense and the cost of the city, more than good with the recommendation from the city of the $5,000. The situation, what happened here, I do not have the exact date when the bank came into ownership. We started representing them recently. I could get that information if it's necessary and send it over. However, from the information that I received, there was a violation. The citation was received in February of 2017, February 7th to be exact. And everything was removed and the house was painted February 23rd, within a few days after the violation was received. So at this point, I know there's a lot more violations that were cited in 2012 and before that, and after that. I was made aware of the most recent violations and that the property is currently in compliance. So the reason we are requesting the reduction is hopefully to be able to sell the property as soon as possible and get a new owner into the property that will take care of the property on a regular basis and, have the property maintained as the city would like.
So it's not up for sale yet, it's still, the bank still has possession, it's not,
The bank still
There's
has
no contract or
possession. We do
anything.
not have any interest buyer at the moment, but we have a realtor working on it and it is gonna be put up for sale and everything hopefully will move quickly from then. We do have this lien though that any interested buyer will be, they wouldn't be interested in the property with a $21,000 lien. So we are requesting for the best reduction possible in order to get somebody into this property.
What is the total amount? I
Tw-
can't find the information on the packet.
I have it.
21,000 with the running fines on the property,
Total,
Yes.
21,000.
Okay. Any questions? Any suggestions?
I have a question.
No, espérate. That's a good question. Mr. Mayor, if I may ask a
Yes.
question to Mr. Penna? Mr. Penna, did the applicant, the bank in this case, go before the code enforcement board? Or are these liens that have been placed against the property right now?
These are liens on the property.
These are liens. Okay, so we have documentation that we filed a lien.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, Madam Manager, you recommend for the 21,000 to mitigate in 5,000?
That's our recommendation.
That covers our expense. And the house is already for sale, and you're working for selling the house?
I make a motion to make it 7,500.
Madam Manager, did your recommendation sufficiently covered our cost?
Yes, ma'am. And the reason for our recommendation, and you know that it is the position of the administration and my office, that we look at each case based on its own merits. You didn't have a structural issue here at hand. You had general maintenance of the property, which meant cutting the grass regularly, and that the house was, the walls were not kept, the exterior, and I believe it was painted, obviously, shortly after they became aware of it. This is the first opportunity I had to speak to you regarding this file. But we've gone back, and I can tell you that we feel that the $5,000 will cover the administrative expense, and that the violations per se were pretty much general cleanup items. It was taking trash bags that were being accumulated under the canopy or the carport area that sits to this, that's an extension to the property, just accumulated trash and debris from tree cuttings and whatnot, but nothing structural in nature. There wasn't a new roof or new windows or anything put there without a building permit.
Madam Manager, but you're not taking under consideration how much the residents in that area had to suffer. I was at the house at the northeast corner several times, and I recall this resident complaining to me, when was it that we were gonna do something about it? And she
Correct.
pointed out the squatters to me, and she pointed out the mess, and I remember seeing a real mess. It wasn't just trash bags, it was debris, it was garbage, it was, the lawn, 3-4 foot high. This resident had to put up with that for all that time. So you're not taking that under consideration, and I
I
think we
did, I
should.
mentioned it earlier when I made my
not
presentation.
not just her, but the people that live behind and the people that live just to the east, and especially the lady to the north that lives right there on the other side of 16th Street.
Right, and there are two
so, you know,
properties.
you-
If I may, just for clarification, are you referring to the property on 62nd Avenue before you get to 16th Street? Or this one, which is right on 16th Street, Commissioner?
On the
Just so
corner.
that I'm sorry?
What are you referring to?
There are two properties that have had similar issues, and they're both
Is this the corner one?
properties.
Is this the one in the corner?
This is the one in the corner of
Yes.
Southwest 62nd
Yes, that's the
and
one.
16th.
That's the one, yes.
Okay.
That's the one. It's been an eyesore for so many years.
Yes, sir, I agree.
And I've had so many phone calls and so many complaints from residents. And, I mean, the only way that the bank is going to, make sure that they're going to abide by, they have not done so far. Okay? They have not. They have not cared one bit to do what they're supposed to do. So now we're going to mitigate and let them get away with $5,000 from a $21,000 fine?
I have a question.
I make a motion for 7,500.
I respect
And
that.
if they don't do that, it's gonna be double next time they stand up here and,
Very-
and
very
try to get a
simple.
mitigation.
Okay, Commissioner, hold on a second. Commissioner, we understand your passion about it, the complaints and so on, but we gotta be logical about things. I mean, we have to get guidance from our city manager, which is our
Well,
financial.
this is my guidance.
I'm speaking.
All right.
Hold on a second, I'm speaking. So I let you speak, I'm speaking right now. So I'm just putting my 2 cents, and it's very simple. This is a democracy. So we have a motion on the table. We need somebody to second that motion or take a
May I
friendly.
ask one more question of the manager before?
Yes.
Madam Manager,
Hey,
that,
I had Commissioner
oh, yes,
Suarez
I'm
first.
sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, before any motion, any other thing. City Mortgage owns the property. And that's the property in the 62nd Avenue? When the sheriff came with an eviction?
One of them.
That's the house in the corner,
Yes.
that the sofa was put outside, and that was a nightmare for months there.
Months, years.
Yeah, no, I agree with Commissioner Blanco.
I'm speaking for
Should
that
be
lady.
more. I agree
I'm
with him,
speaking for that
7,500.
resident.
Wait, one at a time.
I spoke to her many, many times. I stood
Ronnie,
there on her front
Commissioner,
door.
Commissioner, I'm talking.
hey, Suarez is.
Okay,
I'm
all right.
talking, I
Sorry.
think that company and that house was a nightmare for the neighborhood, for the city, 62nd Avenue. Even they put the sofas outside, it was a nightmare. I agree with you. Should be no easy thing, should be 7,500.
Is that a motion?
I second the motion of Mr.
I have a
Blanes.
question before the motion.
Okay,
please,
go ahead.
Mr. Mayor. Madam Manager, your 5,000, does that factor in the cost of the police department, that
Yes,
the
ma'am.
eviction and the times they had to
Yes,
go for calls
This
there?
has been discussed today.
That
Staff
did discuss-
discussed this,
That does
yes.
factor in the police department, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Motion, second motion.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. Call the vote, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Rodriguez, how do you vote?
I don't like the way we arrived at that amount. We had the.
All right, 10,000.
No, let me speak.
she's
I-
talking
And I know where you're coming from. I know your frustration. We spoke about it before. However, we have a recommendation from staff that arrived at the 5,000 because that's the money we spent. So to just jump up to 75, I need to know what else we're factoring in besides residents, and I agree and I understand the residents' frustration with having to deal with this project for so long, but we have to put a monetary value on that. And how can we do that?
Actually, $2,500 is not a whole lot of money.
But I need-
This is only symbolic because all the pain and suffering
I
that
hear-
that
completely,
this property has caused the residents in the surrounding area.
I understand, I understand when it
mean,
comes to
I-
this.
I could
But I just
say-
need to know how, we can't just arbitrarily pull up an additional 2,500. I need to know, what are we basing that on? There's gotta be some sort of scale. So, I've talked to the city manager,
My
to
personal
the attorney
experience-
about, I wanna work,
Let-
somehow get on the books a mitigation fee, a service fee. That's how I wanna arrive at charging or billing for our services, but on the books, not just arbitrarily pulling a number out. That's the only reason I'm not in agreement with,
May,
with
May I?
your
Yes,
motion.
yes,
may I?
yes.
I think I expressed, maybe you do not understood me. I think I expressed why the reason, even the manager, they recommend 5,000. Why I went to 7,500, agreeing with him, because the suffering of the neighborhood for months and maybe a year, that should be, let it go easy, that people.
I agree, I understand that,
reason.
I
That's why I
understand.
go-
But
that's the
how did
reason.
we arrive at the 2,500?
I
Just
did
pain
for
and
that-
suffering and we
for the
pulled out
suffering, yes.
2,500?
For the suffering they did to the neighborhood. and
But
everyone
going
was
forward,
there.
how are we gonna factor that in? Because we have to
That's
have,
my evaluation, I told you.
Can I, okay, we can discuss this all night, but we have to follow the legal system.
yes.
There's a motion on the table, there's a second, and we need to call the vote. Call the vote.
I'm sorry, she was. she had
Commissioner
already called on me.
Rodriguez, how do you vote?
No.
Commissioner Suarez, how do you
Yes.
vote?
Yes, and I gave already my explanation, was not arbitrary, was reasonable because our neighbors suffer a lot with that house.
Commissioner Blanes, how
Yes.
do you vote? Vice Mayor Blanca,
Yes.
Mayor Mujina.
No.
Next
3-2.
time we have a case like this,
The
please
yes
advise me ahead of
have
time
it.
so I can bring the resident in, so the resident can be sitting there and give them, give their side of the story.
Madam Clerk, go ahead.
Yes, 3-2, 3 in favor, 2 against. The motion passes, and I need a time period to pay this amount as approved by you.
Mr. Attorney, we need your suggestion on this.
The suggestion is that it passed, so it should be $7,500.
No, we're talking about the time.
We gave them usually 45 or
Time to pay the amount.
Right, I'm sorry, I did not understand what you were saying. Yes, we should have at least some reasonable period of time. Usually, we give individuals 45 days. I think that individuals are different than commercial institutions, so I think that we should give the commercial institution less time in which to pay. I would suggest 30 days.
30 days. Duly
Okay.
noted.
And if the fine is not paid within 30 days, the fine will go out again to the original amount.
Okay?
Correct.
I should say not fine, but lien.
Yes. So, Ms. Hernandez, the resolution will be forwarded to you once it's executed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any other recommendation, only that we have public hearings, so either
Okay.
we follow the order of the agenda with item 4, the report of the city manager, or we go to item 11As and Bs, which are public hearings.
Okay, we should go to the public hearing and then come back to the reports and so on.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
That's my suggestion.
Item 11A, this is a second reading, a public hearing, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami, Florida pertaining to establishing a temporary moratorium for 6 months from the effective date of this ordinance for the acceptance, review, approval, or issuance of any land development permits as the term is defined by Florida statutes, section 163, 3164, 16, business tax receipts, or any other license or permit for the establishment or of operation of dispensing facilities within the city engaged in the on-site distribution, sale, delivery, or retail of low THC cannabis, medical cannabis, or cannabis delivery devices pursuant to sections 381986 and 4990295 of the Florida statutes, in order to provide the city with an opportunity to review the new cannabis bill, SBAA, third engrossed Compassionate Medical Cannabis Act, providing penalties for violation hereof, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and providing for an effective date retroactive to first reading of this ordinance. For zoning in progress purposes, this ordinance shall be effective upon first reading of this ordinance by Mayor and City Commission. And Mayor and members of the City Commission, this ordinance was read on first reading and public hearing, and this is the second reading and public hearing. Due to a misunderstanding by the newspaper. The second public reading and public hearing, second reading and public hearing was not advertised. So I respectfully submit to you the request to continue, to open and continue this public hearing until the date and time certain of September 20th, 2017 at 7:30 p.m.
Okay. So we open the public hearing. We close the public hearing to continue till,
Continue until September 20th, 2017 at 7:30.
okay?
We need a motion, we need a second, and we need your vote.
Motion?
Second?
Call the vote?
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca? Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you.
I have a report on the marijuana issue. If you want to, I'll do it now. If not, I'll do it when my report comes.
I will rather do it with a report,
Okay.
so we can move along with the public hearings.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank
Next
you.
item?
Next item is item 11B. This is a second reading, a public hearing, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami amending the City of West Miami zoning ordinance 282 as amended by the adopted zoning map dated October 3rd, 2007, changing the zoning designation and classification for certain parcels of land as described in Section 3, Article 1 of Zoning Ordinance 282, best described in the body of this ordinance and future zoning map attached herein as Exhibit A, and providing for compatibility and uniformity with the surrounding parcels, and as adopted in the 2016 West Miami Comprehensive Development Plan, which changed the future land use map as recommended by the study of Florida International University Metropolitan Center, and as recommended by the City Commission serving as the local planning agency, and as approved by the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity, providing for conflict correction, providing for severability, providing for transmittal, and providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission. And Mr. Mayor, this ordinance was advertised twice on a newspaper of general circulation, is also displayed at City Hall, and it has also advertised on our city's website, following all kinds of statutory requirements.
Okay?
And it has also been mailed personally to all the properties that are involved.
Okay?
Certified mail, correct, Mr. Pena?
That's correct.
Oh, this is the second reading, right, Mayor?
Yes,
What was
this
that
is a
again?
public
Yeah.
hearing and second reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. This time, let's open the public hearing. Anybody want to speak on the subject? Okay. Back to the table. Any further comments? Any questions?
I make a motion, Mayor.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay. Can you call the vote?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Rodriguez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca? Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item?
Next item, would you like us to proceed then with the regular order of the agenda, Mr. Mayor?
Unless you have any other items that needs to our attention.
Any other recommendation, Madam Manager?
Nope.
Okay, so let's go back to the order of the agenda. I will believe that will be item 4. Or actually, there's 2 4s.
Actual, yes, yes, Mayor, you're right, so we'll assign different numbers.
4.
Bye.
Good night.
Okay, so item
Good night.
5 will be the report of the city manager. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I issued a written report to the mayor and members of the city commission today. The first item in my report is a follow-up in writing as to the audit response to the county, the Office of OCITT, on the audit findings by the county. During our budget discussions and over the last few weeks, we have individually met with you and advised you of an audit that was conducted by the county, by their auditing team, regarding the city's use of the surtax dollars. We are appealing the decision on their findings based on a compliance letter that we received after the last audit. And in conversations with our auditors, they have agreed that the position that the city, my office and the finance director's office has taken is the correct one. And we have sent the appeal letter to the county in hopes that their executive director and audit team will share some of our concerns. And we, at the same time, are making some modifications that I think will bring the audit to a full closure. Of course, right now, we have done our due diligence. We have appealed the decision of their findings, and it is now in the lap of Miami-Dade County, and we're going to notify you as soon as we get the results. There should be an understanding that the county is not asking for us to return any money to them, but in fact, that the reserves in the half-cent penny tax, known as the surtax enterprise fund, there's a variation from what our auditors have concluded in their independent audit. So there is a discrepancy that should the city not prevail in this appeal process, we are going to have to transfer money from reserves in the general fund to the PTP surtax enterprise fund. But I think that we can work with the Office of OCITT, and I think that we can mitigate this, their findings.
Madam Manager, what's the amount that, the
Okay.
discrepancy?
The discrepancy, okay, their auditors are saying that we should have $588,000 in PTP reserves, when in fact our independent auditor has us with a reserve fund balance at 97,000 and change. So the discrepancy is obviously somewhere in the tune of $410,000. There are issues where I believe that they are correct. One of the issues, just to cite an example, is the use of the Jitney bus to transport children from the after school care program at the recreation center. As you know, the Loop bus makes 3 stops at the schools. They make an early stop for the smaller grade dismissal times. They pick up the kids and they take them to the park. Then they come back and do 2 trips with the upper grades at Sylvania Heights. They do the same thing. The bus picks up the kids at the school and drop them off at the after-school care. We have concluded that based on the number of weeks that school is in session, 14% of the time of the driver is devoted to that effort, and the general public is not allowed to go in the bus. And the reason for that is we really need to make sure that the safety and the well-being of the children is not compromised by somebody getting on the bus. So we basically tailor this service to the residents to help the parents out and make sure that their kids don't walk alone to the park, and so that they can save money on private transportation. So 14% of the driver's time and salary and benefits has to come from the city's coffers. And we are proposing, as per our budget discussions, that time should be charged to the recreation center, because that is the proper enterprise fund, because there's a service being rendered to the recreation fund.
Yeah,
That's one of the examples.
Well, Madam Manager, we're talking about pennies. I mean, the discrepancy is tremendous, so we gotta,
Yes.
and is my understanding that our auditors, are in agreement with us?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay?
They're saying the position that we are taking is consistent with their independent audit, and they have issued a statement via a letter that you see attached to the package that I provided to everyone, that they concur with the management letter and the appeal of the decision of the county. So we are working with them, and I will continue to keep you
Please,
posted.
yeah, keep us posted, because that's That's a big issue.
This is a big ticket item.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Aguilar.
The next item in my report are the population estimates for the city of West Miami. The University of Florida published the April 1st, 2017 estimates of permanent population by areas. West Miami has increased in population from 5,965 persons residing in the city on a continuous basis in 2010 to a population of 7,182 residents as of April 1st, 2017, an increase of a little bit over 1,200 more city residents over the last 7 years. I suspect that these numbers will continue to increase, and this is particularly interesting because our revenue sharing is predicated on population. It's interesting to note that West Miami is growing in voters, becoming a larger voice, which should help us with leveraging money from Tallahassee and placing us in better position with future grant applications. While our growth is steady and gradual, I suspect that with some development someday soon in our city, we should become a community of 10,000. And that's hopefully in the coming years,
In 4 years.
give or take.
I know.
The U.S. Census, and I'll take the time to remind everyone that the U.S. Census has sent out mailings to all the citizens in Miami-Dade County. I received my mailing, and they are urging citizens to register with the census. And it's important that West Miami and all of the citizens is counted because of the reasons that I've mentioned here. So we encourage residents to participate and make our numbers count. We have signed off on the form without disputing their estimates, and we will be forwarding the form back to the University of Florida. And I think we'll see a gradual recomputation of our revenue sharing opportunities on the revenue side. The next item on my report is I met with Mr. Penna this morning, and there are two pieces of equipment that are important to the city and to the public works and to the citizens that have failure and they're at the shop being repaired. First, we have a 20-year-old truck, which is our jet vacuum truck, and it's out of service due to an electrical problem dealing with a harness. Am I correct, Mr. Penna? Presently, I'm sorry, sir? A wiring harness, okay. The truck is in the repair shop and the amount to repair is unknown as of the writing of the memo. I don't know whether you have received an estimate, but we're waiting for an estimate. Again, these are things that we need to keep in mind because the truck is 20 years old and we're starting to see the aging effects. As well, the tree trimming truck is out of commission for a little bit. This is a 10-year-old piece of equipment that has an oil leak in the shaft area, Mr. Penna? Okay. The truck is being serviced, and obviously we can offer you additional details, but the two pieces of equipment are out of service until further notice. The next item on my report is we've issued a memorandum, as our city attorney would say, in an overabundance of caution, we've issued a memorandum to department directors with information on the Monday, August 21st solar eclipse. We've issued some recommendations to ensure awareness and safety precautions to all departments. As well, we have published information on the eclipse on our city website and Facebook page. We also sent out a blast email to those city residents who have registered their email with the city, and we have directed them to the proper authority, which is NASA, and the website is there, and we've talked about some safety measures for city employees. And today we had a presentation by one of our senior center partners, one of the local clinics that offers eye vision care. They came in, and I believe a physician spoke to the seniors about taking precautions on this upcoming Monday historical event. And last but not least is Labor Day. As a reminder, the city is closed for city business Monday, September 4th. We will notice residents as customary on their on the website and Facebook and a blast email. We will be collecting garbage and there will be no interruption of police service. And a happy Labor Day to all those who labor to make our community a better place. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Madam Manager.
Mayor.
Any questions for the manager? Yes.
No, I have to be excused. I leave in tomorrow morning early to the Florida Legal City going on,
Okay,
but I have to back now.
okay.
Good night.
Have a wonderful trip and always represent the city.
I will bring back the information. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Commissioner.
Good night.
Safe
Next item.
travels.
Item 6.
Item 6, report of the city attorney.
Whenever property is purchased by anyone, be that commercial or individual, the prudent thing to do is to purchase title insurance. To purchase a property without title insurance is simply crazy. A title insurance will guarantee that the chain of title to the beginning of the time will be free and clear. And by that, you pay a title insurance company for them to guarantee that the title chain is uninterrupted and is fully commercial, okay? Now, in light of the marijuana issue, the Florida agents and agencies of Chicago Title Insurance Company, Commonwealth Life Title Insurance Company, Fidelity National Title Insurance Company have issued to underwriters the following message. Although Florida has passed legislation legalizing medical marijuana, the use, possession, sale, or distribution of marijuana is still illegal on the federal laws. The companies, Chicago Title Insurance Companies, Commonwealth Title Insurance Company, and Fidelity Title Insurance Company, has declined to knowingly insurance land that is or will be used in some capacity for the growing, production, or distribution of marijuana. That means that the title insurance companies are refusing to guarantee any title that is knowingly for the dedication of somehow in the neighborhood of the business of marijuana issue. I have counseled the city, and you all has obliged by that we should not be the guinea pig, and we should not be advancing an ordinance banning totally marijuana, because we don't want to be the first one to be challenged in court, because we just don't have the money to do that. But there's other cities that have taken the initiative, like the city of Coral Gables. And it reads, after the new state law puts limit on local government that can regulate marijuana cannabis, Coral Gables has taken the step of totally banning the businesses in the city. So they have taken the first step to ban completely the production, sale, distribution of any marijuana option. Some cities like Miami Beach have taken the same angle. However, they were not as I shouldn't not say sophisticated, but careful enough to draft their ordinance. And now Miami Beach has to reform their ordinance in order not to be challenged by any purchase of marijuana. I know that Commissioner Rodriguez has been very keen on this, and we have been very careful in we already have a resolution having a moratorium on the marijuana. The next time it's going to be a moratorium on an ordinance with the marijuana. So we're totally safe at this point, and so I just wanted to report that and the development that it's making it harder to be in the business of the marijuana issue. And also, there's only one bank in the state of Florida that will accept revenues from any business that collects marijuana. And the reason is that all banks are controlled, so to speak, or regulated by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which is a federal organization. In other words, if you make $1 million, you cannot take it to the bank and deposit it in the bank because that would be illegal funding, and the banks would have to report it as coming from marijuana, which is illegal in the federal system. So there is I don't know what the legislator were thinking about, but there's going to be ample litigation on this issue.
Okay, anything else? Any question for the city attorney? Next item?
Item 7, report of the city engineers, none this evening. Item 8, committee reports, report of the mayor.
I have no report. Anybody else?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, next item?
Item 9, citizen presentations. No presentations, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
Item 10, under unfinished business. Item 10A, nomination of alternate members to the Charter Review Board by Mayor and City Commission.
thank you. I do have a nomination for an alternate, and I spoke to the gentleman. He lives in the city of West Miami, obviously, and he's an attorney. His name is Mr. Zacarias, and I asked him for his resume, and I forward to
Yes,
the city
Mr.
clerk
Mayor,
and
it was
city manager.
received, Yes. Zachariah Evangelista, right?
Yes. I'm having a hard time with the name.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Mayor. Any other nomination for alternate members to the Charter Review Board?
I don't, but I'll work on one for the next meeting. I don't have anyone yet.
Same here.
Okay. So I will suggest to leave this item on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Next item would be item C, follow-up discussion in reference to street signs. This item is sponsored by Commissioner Blanes and by Director of Public Works. Report by Director of Public Works.
Much nicer picture. Now I can visualize it.
You didn't like,
I couldn't.
you didn't
Compare
like
with
Mr. Penna's sketch?
With the
The sketch,
concept.
I just couldn't see it. I had no idea what it was, what it was, what it was gonna be.
What's this? After and before?
So when is this gonna happen? Tomorrow, right?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
to be cautious and to make sure that we are properly budgeting for this, I asked Mr. Penna to provide a proposal for at least 50 modifications to include the new street signs and everything, so that we know come September 5th that we have the right budget amount there. And if we're going to start this year, we need to identify the funds to retrofit these signs. Do you have an idea, Juan, of the cost involved?
Can I ask a question first? Remind me, are we just putting the symbol on the existing ones, or we're doing brand new
No,
ones?
you would have to cast new ones.
New
No,
ones.
this
The
is brand
difference
new.
is that what we did is, as I explained, there's a square cutout on the old one.
Yes, I saw that.
We removed the old square cutout and inserted a 6-inch round cutout. And also, we raised the height of the monument by 3 inches. Because usually if you see them, they're covered up by grass.
Right.
When they're placed on grass,
So we're gonna take out the ones that are there and put new ones, the whole thing?
in certain locations.
Oh, right, the ones we're doing, we're literally taking out the
Yes,
The
one
street
that's there and
sign.
putting a new, okay.
Complete
okay,
removal,
okay,
yes.
okay.
Just for my knowledge, was there anything in that square before? I mean, a rectangle in the back?
no,
No?
it's always been empty. I imagine back in the 40s or 50s, they used to use, like the Gables uses,
The
100 block,
Yeah,
100 block,
okay.
1,000 block.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
They just, the city never followed through on that.
Okay.
Somebody, somebody stole the mold from Coral Gables and then brought it over here. Anyway.
This is a little bit different.
All right.
It's gonna be blue, like this, like the new one?
Yeah,
like green
why,
like the
why
ones?
change from green to blue?
Blue to
Well,
match
blue is
the
our color, number
emblem?
one. Green is the county's color, and I don't really like it.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's be honest.
Don't hold back. Tell us how you really feel.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
Okay, great.
Great.
I like the blue. I like
So,
the blue.
so Commissioner Blanes, how
Actually,
do
I
how do
think
you
the
like
blue
it?
reflects
Well,
better.
I got a question. If, I mean, having to have new ones done is gonna be a lot more expensive. And I have to admit, it does look nice. It does look nice having it higher from the ground. But my idea originally was to use the old ones and to place the,
There's no way of getting a round seal on a square peg.
well, I mean, instead of making a round one, making a rectangular one and have, well, yeah,
Our seal's not rectangular.
all right. Well, I just thought that it would be more cost efficient, but.
Well, it is, but
this-
at the
this-
same,
This does look nice.
at the same time, I think they were too low to begin with, and they are maintenance, by raising it those 3 inches, you're actually putting it better in the path of the headlights of the car,
Right.
which brighten it up at night when they
So
hit
they're
it.
reflective, right? It's reflective?
It's 3M
The,
reflective,
the sign also?
3M reflective.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this looks really nice. Any idea what the cost is?
We could figure that out by the next meeting. It's not very costly. I mean, the actual steel form is the same one that we've always used. We just added more metal to it, which has already been done. The seals, for about 50 of them, cost about $250.
The
So it's-
signs?
Yeah, the seals.
Oh, the seal, okay.
And the rest of the material for actually redoing the lettering and stuff like that, we have in stock. So it's something that the streets department's always had.
So why don't we do 100 instead of 50?
We can, but we're not gonna do 100 at once. We're gonna do them as we get along to them. So we don't have the personnel to start a sign shop tomorrow.
Are we literally casting these ourselves?
Yes.
We're building these things?
Yes.
Wow.
But the actual sign and the logo, somebody else is doing that for us?
No. All in-house.
All in-house, the logo?
The logo's printed somewhere else, but it's all affixed here in-house.
You're pouring this mold and
Well,
everything?
I
That's
volunteer
pretty cool.
I volunteer to help.
That's
We'll
very
we'll be
cool.
glad to let you pour
Uh,
the molds.
Is there an issue with that, Mr. Attorney? Because I would volunteer to work and get this thing done.
Can I volunteer as well?
Sure.
Can I help? I like this. This is great.
I'm sorry, I would love to, but I got too many hats.
Vice Mayor?
I'm not retired yet.
Yolanda's gonna have plenty of time in a couple of months.
No, I would definitely love to see this on every street corner. I mean,
I
You
play
know-
mayor on my volunteer time.
this will bring a sense of pride, a sense of identity to this city. We've lacked this for a long time. I think this will go a long ways. I mean, we already have that. So imagine just this, would adding this to the city would be fantastic.
It makes the corner look
It
better.
would, I think, people would look after their properties more, fix their property, do landscaping, it would give the city a really great sense of identity,
It's gonna be
you know?
really noticed.
Yeah, no, I agree. I got a couple of questions, if you don't mind. Does the base stay, is that a new thing? The flat base, or is that something?
No, that's just a piece of metal that goes underneath the form, that
Okay,
goes on
good.
top.
All right,
So it's gonna look like the ones that are now, it's just gonna be the L
Taller.
shape
Correct.
into the ground, okay.
okay, one more, couple of more questions. Okay, so the top portion, you said they're both done in-house, but the printing is outside?
The printing of the seals outside, on the assembly of the signage, the Southwest 9th Street, all that we have in stock.
You have in stock?
Yeah.
Uh,
And we have the Yellow Boulevards, we have the Tribble Avenue, we have the Sylvania Boulevard signs. All that is pre-printed, and we already have all that.
Okay. And is the seal the same way, printed the same way as the sign? The reason I'm asking this question is because
The seal would look-
signage, hold on a second. Signage before is built is tested out there in the sun for many moons. So it's, what's the material on the seal?
It's a 3M reflective seal material.
The same as the one on
Same as,
top?
same as the one on top.
Okay.
Only it won't be in color. This is the seal that's on there now is a temporary seal. It won't be in color, it will all be in white. And then the blue will be the background of the 3M, just like on the sign above. In other words, your whole seal is all white, transparent. So the West Miami and the Florida on the bottom will be the blue coming from the 3M material in the back.
So, but it will look as,
As
the
the
same
seal.
as this?
All in white,
Okay. All right,
white on blue.
Well,
okay.
give us a date
So the little,
when you're gonna work on this, so we can plan and be there to help.
I will notify you.
Okay.
what about the, this board
I might just come and watch. I
That
might
is
not really
also
help.
in white.
in white?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Too many hands in the
Mr.
pot.
Q's help.
But then you have the lines, right?
Yeah, Mr. Q's helping us, and we have it actually as it's like if you would say a negative, and that we've done, and we're just looking for the right printer to be able to print it.
Do you
Okay.
have, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I want to come back to the issue of pricing again. It looks really nice, and the reason for that, in thinking about how we can possibly fund this expense is, wouldn't this qualify under a transportation improvement project, and would PTP not be able to fund part of this activity?
It can.
This is part of directing traffic.
So we are, 80% of our transportation proceeds,
But remember, we have
Um,
pledged against that already.
we have some pledges, but we have some issues with the audit. So I just think that we ought to at least reach out to OCITT and get a preliminary approval in the event that we are able to fund a little bit more than 50, if this is the wish of the commission.
Madam
Great
Manager,
idea. Great idea.
the expense, as Mr. Penna has explained, is gonna be more for the man-hours. You know, because the materials are really not all that expensive, so it's gonna be man-hours. So we gotta be really careful if we do that, not to fall into the same situation that we did before.
No,
So
you could have man-hours in the situation before, as long as it's for transportation.
Exactly, as long as
Okay.
it is devoted to
Well,
transportation.
let's make sure that's the case.
And understand that our position with the audit is not that admitting that we've done anything wrong, it's the interpretation of their audit versus the interpretation of our auditors.
I'd like to see if we can have this by Christmas.
This one's across the street already.
Where's this
And
one?
This one's there?
Across the street.
I would like
It's
to
in
see
place?
at
Yeah.
least the,
Nine
crosswalk.
on what?
62nd Avenue.
On 62nd? Oh, okay.
I would love to see if we can do this by the end of the year. So let me know, I got my,
Shorts and work boots.
I got my work boots, I got my fireman boots.
Okay, well,
I'm not wearing
Great.
boots, I'm just coming in.
You could
great
paint.
job. I hate to be the party pooper, but we got other items in the agenda. We gotta move forward along. Looks great. Commissioner, thank you for coming up with this idea. I think it's
Really nice.
it's really gonna improve, you know, the quality, the how we look at the city and the
Absolutely.
presence, yeah. So, great. Okay, next item, please.
Next item would be item 11E, report by the Office of the City Manager in reference to recommendation on the independent contract between the City of West Miami and Dr. Lourdes Martinez, MSRD LD Community Center Dietitian by City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Commissioners. The time has come to renew the contract between the city and Dr. Lourdes Martinez. She is our dietitian. She is the person who oversees the meal program for the senior citizens, works with Marilyn Mariah, the project director, and with the Alliance for Aging and the caterer. There is a sample, or actually there's an independent contractor agreement attached to your agenda packet. And the only recommendation which we have entertained in the budget that I believe we should make is take the compensation rate of $63.33 per hour for the dietitian, round that off to $65. This is consistent with what other nutritionists are receiving in terms of compensation. She has agreed to the terms of the agreement starting October 1st, 2017, until the end of September 2018 to go consistently with the city's fiscal year. She has done above satisfactory work with our seniors and works flawlessly with all of our regulating agencies. So we recommend that you approve this contract so that we continue the service.
Okay.
65.
Can you
Yeah,
read the
1 and 2.
resolution?
The 2 years, for the 2 years.
For the 2 years,
Yes.
correct.
Yes, okay.
Madam Clerk, can you read the resolution,
Yes,
please?
Mr. Mayor, item 11F, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to execute a 2-year contract between the City of West Miami and Dr. Lourdes Martinez, MSRDLD, registered independent dietitian to the West Miami Community Center program, providing for a 2-year contract commencing October 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2019 at a rate of $65 per hour as recommended by city manager for a 2-year for the 2-year period of the contract. Said funds to be budgeted in the City of West Miami Community Center budget for the duration of the contract, with the condition that her service to the center keeps with the mandates of the Alliance for Aging and the Department of Elder Affairs, providing for effective date, Mayor and City Commission.
Thank you.
Motion.
No. Wait. Oh, okay, yeah, the resolution, I'm sorry.
Second.
I'm sorry. Call the vote.
Yes, Commissioner Rodriguez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca?
Yes.
Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Can you read item G and H?
Yes,
This time?
Mr. Mayor. Item 11G, report and recommendation by Director of Public Works, Office of the City Manager, for purchase of park equipment for Edmund P. Cooper Park under a FERDAP grant. Director of Public Works and City Manager. Item 11H, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a proposal in the amount of $52,943.82 from Miracle Recreation Equipment Company for the purchase of a new playground equipment for Edmund P. Cooper Park, funded by 2016-17 FERDAP grant in the amount of $35,000 with a match from park input fees in the amount of $18,000, the City of West Miami park input fees, for a total of $52,943.82, providing for effective date, providing for severability. Mayor and City Commission.
Thank you. Mr. Penna?
Mr. Mayor, this is part of the FERDAP grant cycle from 2016.
16.
And this is to replace the north equipment, the equipment on the north side of the Cooper Park. We replaced the one on the south side with funding from the construction of the Publix by Brandon Structures, and now we're going to replace the one on the north and then eventually repave the asphalt trail throughout the park.
Sorely needed.
Excellent.
I just have a question and a concern. By this picture, Mr. Penna, it looks a little juvenile to me for the age group that's going to be using it.
Well, the age group is on top of the second sheet. If you'll look at it, it's 5 through 12. The one on the north side, on the south side of the park is 2 to 5.
Right. The existing one is for the younger kids.
Right.
This is going to replace the ones that the bigger kids use.
5 to 12.
And it just looks
Small.
not small in size. Just it doesn't look compatible to the age group. I mean, even the slides look minuscule to the ones that are there now.
Well, it's a different design, but it's actually,
I mean, it may be wider in size.
Mhm.
I understand that, but as far as height and these slides, they just look more for a much younger group. It looks babyish to me.
Uh,
Well, not babyish, a more younger. I mean, the kids that are that
Rem-
go on the use this playground now, they're big kids.
Correct. Remember, these decks are at 4 feet in height, the decks that the slides are coming off of. So they're at a pretty good height. We had a different structure plan for there, which was, it looked like a more rocket ship type of thing.
I think, did we get a picture of that? Because that may be.
Yeah,
what I
that
have
was
in my
back
mind.
way-
Remember I was telling you, I saw a completely
Correct.
different picture.
Right, but-
That seemed more,
But that was at a higher elevation and in an unsupervised park. It's not
Correct.
wise
Correct.
because of attempts by older children to dive.
would that one be higher than what we have there now?
Oh, yes.
How does this compare to the one we have now?
Similar?
In height?
Yes. It doesn't look like it, but it is.
I was gonna say, so this picture may be deceiving.
Yes.
It is.
Just by this
You know
picture-
why it's deceiving? Because
It
it
looks
is,
a
it's
little-
a bird's eye view. It's
little
taken from the
too
top, so, you know. And also the kids that they have there.
Yeah, no, ignoring the kids, just looking at the actual playground structure. Again, picture, it may be deceiving.
Okay, so how tall is the platform?
4 feet.
4 feet. Okay.
You know,
That's
we also
higher
have
than
to
your-
take under consideration that kids have more imagination than we do.
It's
So to them,
unsupervised, too.
to them, this is gonna be a cool thing, you know?
So
A new
these slides,
thing,
Mr.
a new
Penna,
toy.
how do they compare in height to the slides we have there now?
Similar.
Similar?
It's
Okay.
just that on the one slide, on the back end of one of the
Right,
structures,
right.
it's a semi,
Right.
curl. That's all the difference.
But the height is the same?
Yes.
Okay.
The takeoff point is the same.
The takeoff point?
Have you
Okay.
seen one of these assembled or no? You're just going by pictures?
No.
Okay.
We could find out which park has one and go look at it.
And I think that the picture doesn't really
And that's what
Give
I'm,
it a
that's
good,
what I'm thinking too.
good
Okay,
depiction.
My first thought was it just
Well,
looks a little.
let's talk about legal for now. I mean, these are based on bids? I'm
No,
sorry.
this is, this is off a countywide bid that the company has.
Okay,
So we're piggybacking on something that's already been,
so are
bids.
we committed, just in case?
no,
like,
we could change it anytime we want.
Just in case, maybe, we have a volunteer like Commissioner Rodriguez that can go and see a
I'm not
physical.
building this thing. No, I'm not building.
No, not building it, seeing it.
I'm just kidding.
One that is already built that you can go there and see it. And
Would that be okay? Because just this picture, I.
and
Go
you
for
can,
it.
you can take your grandson and test
And
it.
test
Go-
it? Now, is this gonna be
See if
wider
it,
in?
if it holds.
It's actually bigger because we have
Bigger-
to, we
bigger
have to
width.
increase the fall area.
Okay. I mean, if that's okay with you guys, I would like to do
Yes.
that. I'd like to see one set up.
Absolutely.
It's like a double, I mean, Mr. Attorney, is any legal issue with that?
There's no legal issues on that.
Before we purchase, you know,
No problem.
this feel like, I mean, I love the internet, but I like to go and touch it and
I-
test
I-
drive it and.
Would my going to see this delay the installation of it tremendously, or?
It may set it back a week, that's about it.
Well, it all depends when you bring it back.
That's
If
what
you
I'm
want to
saying.
bring it back at the special commission meeting,
Right.
on September 5th, it may delay it a few weeks,
Couple of
weeks.
So do we have to bring it back, or can we say,
Upon review or something like that?
right? Could we do that so that we don't have to bring it back, Mr. Attorney?
I wouldn't recommend
No.
you do
What
that, and
happens if
I'm
you
not the
change it?
attorney, because the pricing
Yes,
changes.
okay.
So to keep it
So we have to bring it
clean, I think you should consider bringing
Could
it
we bring
back.
it back at the next meeting, or no?
Yes?
Yes.
Wait, I'm a little lost. The price will change if we do what?
If we change the structure.
Of course.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So we could bring it back at the next meeting.
You could bring it back on
In 2 weeks.
September 5th. Actually, September 5th is your tentative budget hearing, and it's a special commission meeting.
We can't bring it there?
And I don't,
It'll be super quick, I mean, right?
you can't, you have the medical insurance renewal at that meeting, and the budget
I
presentation.
just hate to delay it so much.
If we delay it, then we're talking September 20th.
That's what I'm saying, I hate to delay the,
It looks cool to me.
I don't wanna delay it, guys,
Okay,
Our
so let's go.
reco-
All right,
our-
so,
Can-
What?
Our recommendation is you bring it back on the 20th of September.
Or
Just
we-
to give you time So we can also obtain other models from the company and some pricing
No, I
information
could just go see
to have
it
a
and-
backup plan.
Why don't we approve this one, and if you go and it doesn't satisfy us, then we
Oh,
can bring it back.
that's what I meant. Is that, can we do that, Mr. Attorney?
Okay.
Okay,
Great.
because that way it would have to come back or no?
Yes, at that point, if we change it, yes. If
But
we
if we
don't,
don't
no.
change it,
No.
it doesn't have to come back.
No.
So
that's
it
what-
would
that's
be
what-
a
That's what the mayor said.
A motion to
Motion.
approve, conditioned upon verification that the playground structure equipment meets.
Is what it appears to be in the
needs-
picture.
Exactly, it meets the need of the age group that we're catering to.
Then we don't have to bring it back.
Right,
Motion.
right.
Perfect. All I need to tell you, Mr. Bennett, I saw it, and it's good to go.
Okay.
And you guys will trust my,
Okay, let's move.
my
We ha-
test. Okay,
we-
good.
We have
Done.
other items.
Done.
Okay.
Second. Oh, wait, second? Second.
All right, call the vote.
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca?
Yes.
Mayor Mujina?
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Okay,
Next item, item I.
can you
11I.
read I and J?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item I, bid tabulation report by the Office of the City Clerk in reference to City of West Miami Parkway Trees Project. Item J, report and recommendation by the Office of the City Manager, Director of Public Works regarding the State of Florida Department of Agriculture grant for right-of-way trees funded at $8,500, but with the city match in the amount of $8,500 in reference to tree purchase and planting of same as part of our ongoing commitment to the Tree City USA designation. City Manager, Director of Public Works. And, yes?
Okay, you're gonna read the
the-
next item.
y-
Okay.
You want me to read the resolution, Mr. Mayor?
Uh,
Also related to the same issue?
Oh,
or-
okay, I'm sorry, so it's actually 3 items.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Resolution of the Mayor and City item K, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to accept a bid from blank for a total of blank as part of the City of West Miami grant with the State of Florida Department of Agriculture funded in the amount of $8,500 with the match to be paid by the City of West Miami General Fund Operating Account 541-221 in the amount of $8,500 for a total project in the amount of $17,000 in connection with the Parkway Trees project, providing for an effective date, providing for severability, Mayor and City Commission.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just for introduction, this is before the clerk reports on the tabulation. We are working to meet the grant timelines. This is a time-sensitive project. This is a grant that we received from the Department of Agriculture in the amount of $8,500, as the clerk has read into the record. And we must have these trees on the ground as quickly as next week. We need to start the process so that we can close out the grant and receive reimbursement. So we would encourage you to listen to the recommendation tonight and vote on this issue.
Okay. Any comments?
Mr.
Any questions? I need a motion?
No, I think
Mr. Mayor, we have to
I think that
report
Public Works
We need
Director
to
has something
bid
to say.
Okay, okay, no,
of the bid
I thought you were
opening.
done.
No, I haven't said a word. Mr. Mayor, we went out and secured bids for Parkway tree and installation. The lowest bidder was Richard Higgins Landscaping with the live oak at $346, the mahogany trees at $325, the wild tamarin at $358, and the tababulia caraiba $360. This is all Parkway trees that we're going to install. We have a budget of $17,000, and with this, we should get the 42 trees that we put in the grant, that we will put in the ground with the parkways leading out and around Sylvania Boulevard to replace tree canopy.
Okay,
So it's gonna go only on Sylvania Boulevard?
No, this
No.
will go off the streets off of Sylvania Boulevard.
Off the streets, off of Sylvania Boulevard
Yes.
for canopy?
We already did Sylvania Boulevard last year with a Miami Neat Streets grant.
Grant.
Okay. Now, I know you mentioned too the oak and the other one that we have presently in this city. We
Live
have
oak,
any-
mahogany.
The mahogany, we have those in the city. The other three, do we have
The
any of
Cuban
those in the
tamarind is
city?
something that we use, we do also have them in the city. We use them where there's FPL power lines,
Uh-huh.
because their maximum height is usually about 20, 25 feet, and they don't interfere, and then FPL doesn't have to come and do that ugly V in them.
Right,
And the tababuli is another one that we put on the power lines.
so we do have all of these trees
Yes.
currently in the city, okay.
Good. Any question for Mr. Pena?
It's a 4-year contract. Again, we're in Tree City, USA now, so every year we have to budget money towards the
effort.
replacement of trees. And after the 4 years, then it's up to the city to renew for an additional 3 years at the city's request.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, this went out to bid. Any? No problem?
with
Okay.
that. You approved it, and we have to wait a small period. I don't remember, I think it's 10 days, right, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
For any bid protest, but other than that, you're free to approve it tonight if you should decide.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor?
all right,
Mr.
so,
Mayor?
yes.
We have a concern on the bid protest, wait time.
We got time.
It is,
We have time.
are you sure we have
Yeah.
time? Okay,
We got other work to do meanwhile, opening the holes and locations and all that. So we got
okay.
time.
So within 10 days, because of the timeline and the closure of the grant.
Okay,
Calendar days.
This contract brings a standard guarantee on the trees and everything, correct?
1-year guarantee. It's a Florida grade A #1 trees, and no split trunks, and it's a 2-inch caliper at 4 feet of height.
okay, all right, well, I need a motion then.
Motion?
Okay, can you call the vote?
Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca? Mayor Mujina?
Yes,
4-0, item passes.
okay. Next item, can you read L and M?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Item 11L, recommendation by the Chief of Police regarding the purchase of 2 police cruisers by Chief Andrew. Item 11M, resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami authorizing the city manager to purchase 2 police cruisers from Hub City Ford under Florida Sheriff's Association bid to be paid 100% from police impact fees for a total of $73,818.21 to include purchase costs, installation, and purchase of emergency equipment, and stripping providing for effective date. Mayor and City Commission.
Okay,
Good evening,
Chief?
Mr. Mayor, Commission. Time for police cars again. The other ones are getting up in miles. We're going to be able to rotate some of those out and replace some of the scarecrows out there with a little better looking cars as well, but it's something that comes up every couple of years. Fortunately, this is not going to impact city funds at all. It's going to be, like the clerk said, impact fees and other funds that are not city funds. So it's, again, that price includes the price of the vehicles, all the emergency equipment, the striping. We can even paint them blue like the
The new
street
street
signs.
markers.
If you like, everybody like that blue, but no, they'll be the same.
All right, Madam Manager?
I have a question, Chief, if I may, Mr. Mayor, as the chief.
Impact fees, by the way.
When should, if the vehicles are approved this evening, when can we expect delivery?
They're actually holding these. If you notice, these are 2016s, 0 miles. They're new vehicles, but we were actually, the deputy chief was able to scour all the dealers and find these. I have to give him credit for that. And they're holding them, so we have to get them the purchase order, hopefully first thing in the morning. The vehicle should be here within a week or so, and then they go for the biggest delays in the emergency equipment. I'm guessing, again, 2 weeks, so probably within 30 days, it should be striped and ready to go. Keeping
Okay,
our fingers
if I
crossed.
may, just for the record, we were hoping that, because we need to transfer in money from impact fees and show the expense from the police department so we can have a proper accounting of the items that we're purchasing. So I'm not sure if this can wait until for payment until October 1st.
Are you saying it's better to pay it before October 1st?
No, I'm saying that we actually have this entertained in next year's budget. I didn't think the delivery would be so quick.
The problem is the main cost is in the delivery of the vehicles, in the purchase of the vehicles, and that doesn't take that long. The equipment, the installation of the emergency equipment is what takes longer. I don't think that Hub City is going to wait until next budget year to get paid. I mean, we can ask, but I highly doubt that they will accept that.
That will pose
Oh, the deputy chief's telling me they already said no.
okay. That will pose an issue because it's going to show as an expense of $72,500 after it's all said and done, and no revenue to account for it at the end of this year. We need to be mindful that we know that the expense is gonna come in, is gonna be funded by impact fee, but your general fund is going to look like it's spent, the department spent $72,500 and you didn't have a revenue for it. So I will make a phone call to our auditors tomorrow morning and see how we're gonna handle the bookkeeping end of it. You know that I'd like to keep it clean, so that there are no auditing issues down the road. And this is something that's gonna trigger the elimination of what we have gone through with you throughout our budget meetings, of the revenue coming in from the impact fees into general fund and the expense next year. So we have to remove those corrections that we have discussed with you. So I have some follow-up to do with that, and it is what it is.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Manager. Okay, with that said, any questions to the chief?
No.
I need a motion.
Second?
Okay. Call the vote.
Yes, Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Blanca, Mayor Mujina,
Yes.
4-0, item passes.
Okay. Last item.
Last item, item N.
We might have to
11N.
defer this item.
Yes, nomination of a member to the Code Enforcement Board. Is this Commissioner Suarez time to nominate, but he's not present, so
Okay.
we would recommend to.
I mean, do you know who will be next, or off the top of your head? I mean, I don't want you to.
Yes, I provided a
Oh, it's here in the.
list, and the next commissioner to nominate is Commissioner
It's me.
Rodriguez.
Okay. All right.
So do I need to start looking for somebody? What does that mean?
Yeah.
He's got that next nomination.
Well, just in case. Sometimes
Okay.
they can't find a person, and
Okay,
just be ready. That's
okay,
all.
I can do that.
We can't afford to have that board empty.
I can do that.
Okay. So that item is deferred till next commission meeting,
Yes,
right?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Go to the order.
I have something.
So do I.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner.
And I'll be brief.
Wait.
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes first.
Go
I'm sorry.
first? He said I could go first, to go first.
Oh,
Just
you
kidding.
did? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so, Commissioner, you know it's about the item that
Oh,
was
yeah.
discussed. I completely understand where you're coming from. You know I do. So with that said, I know I've talked to our city attorney and the manager. What do we need to do to look into establishing a mitigation service fee? I need to get moving on that, because that will perhaps compensate and help out with Commissioner Blanes' point of view, kind of like to not cover the pain and suffering, but we're not completely not paying attention to the pain and suffering of our residents. So this might be some sort of, compensation in that
Sure,
respect.
I believe that this is totally feasible, except that it would take away from case-by-case basis. For instance, the city of Miami, I have researched their code, and they have a catalog of fines per day, per days of failure to comply with an ordinance, and that will give you a final bracket of fines that can be imposed by the Code Enforcement Board. and later on, if they don't pay, they can come to you and mitigate it. But it's totally feasible, so I'll work with the manager.
I don't
and-
want to change the fact that we go by staff's recommendation as to cover our cost. I don't want to change that. I just want to establish on top of that, call it what we want. I'm going to say service, a mitigation service fee. And that will be a set fee based on whatever plan we want to. It's not going to affect what we already have in place. I want it over and above that.
I have to research on the service fee.
Call it whatever
I'm
we have to
sorry?
call it.
An application fee
No.
to come before
I
the
have,
board?
I cannot, that's a new one on me. I mean, I think that.
But do you understand where I'm going with that?
Yes, but
Okay.
I don't know that would be.
How about if you research and you come back to us?
Yes, I just
I
want,
will-
I want to get moving
I will
on
come
it.
back with
Yeah.
you and tell you about it.
Perfect,
Okay.
thank you.
All right.
But I
Anything else,
understand,
Commissioner?
I understand that, for instance, I have a home right a block away from my home, that every time that I go through there, I do suffer. You know?
And, you know, I don't even want to say it's going to cover pain and suffering. I don't want to go into that.
No,
I
no,
just
but
would like to set up
I
some
fully
sort of.
understand that because I have to live through that every single day that I come out from my house and that I go into my house. I mean, it's just very annoying.
Okay. Perfect,
So-
thank you. Research it and,
Yes,
great.
I will research it for you and go back to you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Commissioner. Oh,
Well-
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Chief.
Excuse me, Commissioner Rodriguez, you asked about when our next event is going to be, and just a reminder, October is National Night Out.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
starting to begin that plan now.
Perfect.
October, do you have a date? Oh, no? Not yet, okay. Hopefully it's cooler and not rain.
That's why we do it, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
Well, my colleagues, you all know me by now, and I apologize for my unbound passion at times. But, you know, it just so happened that I spoke to some residents, especially the lady that lives right to the north. She keeps her house very meticulous, very nice. I've been there a couple of times, and I remember standing there at her door and her telling me, you know, why aren't you doing something about this? And I remember telling her, we're doing everything we can. Code enforcement is on it. They have a running fine. And as I'm standing there, you know, talking to her, I look across, and there was garbage everywhere. The lawn was 3-4 feet high. You know, there's people coming in, people coming out, probably the squatters. And she points and she says, look what I got to live with.
Sure.
And you know, that happened a couple of times, because I happen to know that lady. And also the people that live to the south. I also spoke to them, and, you know, and to some people that live on the north side, just to the east. And, you know, they had to put up with that for a long, long time. That bank owned that property. They didn't do anything about it. And then they sent an attorney here, you know, to mitigate a $21,000 fine. And, you know, we're going to let them, you know, $5,000. Well, you know what? I figured if this attorney sees that one of the commissioners got really pissed off, okay, and he's arbitrarily said, you know what, tacked on another 2,500, she's gonna go back and she's gonna tell that bank.
I'm sorry, it was not arbitrarily.
Well, you know what?
it-
I should have said 21,000. I should have said, pay the freaking fine. To them, you know what, it's not a big deal. They're a bank, you know, and like the manager says, every case is different. If this would have been a resident, it would have been handled a lot different. But this is a bank. They got deep pockets. They don't care. And they showed it. For years they showed it. They didn't care. They let squatters come in there. They didn't cut the lawn. They didn't do anything. They didn't care. And you know what? Our residents suffer. And that's why we sit here. We sit here to make sure that they have a good quality of life. And this lady suffered. You drive by her house anytime, you see that house is meticulous. You know, the landscaping, it's clean. Her husband's always out there, you know, working on the landscaping. So, you know, I figure, you know what? If she goes back and tells this bank, you know, that one commissioner got really ticked off, that they better keep and maintain this property, or otherwise, you know, next time they stand here, it's going to be the full fine. That's why I did it. I thought it would be worth it, you know.
Okay,
So,
And you did a good job.
And I'm sorry if I,
No, it's okay. It's
Speak
okay.
when I'm
It
not
is your
supposed to
job to
speak
be
and
that
I'm-
way. It is my job as a mayor to control you. So anyway, my apologies.
just tell me to
We all
shut
did our
up.
jobs, we all did our jobs.
Okay. I want you to get really mad if the county tries to enforce that difference.
Well, that's just it. When I get mad, I can't think, and then I can't say what I want to say. You know, I just sit here and, you know.
Ms.
No, but think about the discrepancy that we have in the,
Oh.
whatever. That one is crazy.
Oh, it
So-
is.
And that's gonna affect us.
It
So,
is. It's
big
insane.
time.
Very quick, Commissioner, I don't take offense. On the contrary, I'm really happy that everybody's, you know, all about quality of life, and I mean this in a good way. What I do want to put on the record is, obviously, we have a mission to enforce the code. We are very much for quality of life, but we can't use it as a means for the code enforcement mitigation process to become a moneymaker. We need to also focus on recuperating the time spent on the file, because that could be challenged as well. And you know very well that I'm always looking out for the best interests of the city. So
Oh,
I congratulate you, I really do.
Oh,
I think.
Like I said, this was a bank that
You
didn't care.
you done good, like they say,
This
you
is
know.
a bank that
I
didn't care.
agree, I don't disagree.
They didn't care, and they didn't care
You
for
have a
many
job to
years.
do, but we have a job to do. We need to protect the integrity of our administrative process.
I think that we
So-
need to take under consideration, and somehow maybe this can be worked into what Commissioner Rodriguez is alluding to. We need to take under consideration the amount of time
Yes.
and the amount of you know, of strife that you know, the nuisance caused. You know, I mean, there's got to be some kind of way that we can say, you know what, how many years was this property like
Exactly.
this? You know, the residents suffered so much. Well, you know what? And you know what? That's the only way. That's the only way that's going to keep that bank or people from not doing what they're not supposed to. You know, when you hit them in the pocketbook, you know, they
Right.
pay attention.
Commissioner, I was even thinking of perhaps making that service fee based on the amount of the fine. We could, that way it would be on individually handled, on an individual case basis, whatever the amount of the fine is. I know, I'm done, I'm
Can
done.
I
I'm
pass the
done.
gavel? Because I'm out of
done.
here.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night. I'm done.